Akainu learned that the Straw Hat Gang appeared on Egghead Island to help Vegapunk escape, which gave him a headache. If Vegapunk joined the Straw Hat Gang, the Marines would suffer heavy losses because Vegapunk had eaten the brain fruit, and his brain could be considered the most useful in the world. This terrifying scientist had personally developed pacifists for the Marines. After he escaped with the Straw Hat Gang, no one knew what terrible things he would create. But what made Akainu even more of a headache was that Lucci had already arrived on the island with CP0, but Kizaru had not yet arrived. Akainu did not want to directly confront the new four emperors, Luffy. But it was too late to say that now. Because Lucci had been cultivating his abilities for 2 years and had awakened his devil fruit power, his strength had improved even further. He ignored his companion's dissuasion and directly fought against Luffy, preparing to avenge the shame of his defeat on Enies Lobby. The two of them first tested each other with small attacks, but after a series of fights, their punches without haki were like raindrops falling on each other, causing no pain or itching. Neither of them could do anything to each other. So the two of them took off their shirts and awakened their abilities to increase their strength. Lucci also wanted to see what the white form on Luffy wanted poster was. Originally, with the second gear ability, Luffy could almost defeat Lucci. But Luffy generously showed his new ability to his old enemy. With fireworks like shining light and cheerful classical music, Luffy's hair instantly turned white. With the fifth gear ability is full capacity Liberation Warrior reappears on Earth. The ground also turns into rubber as his abilities are activated. Lucci looked at Luffy directly activating the fifth gear, and not only was he not afraid, but he also became interested. As soon as he finished speaking, he was hit hard by Luffy's punch, without even having time to defend himself. He flew out from the impact and his companions watched from the surveillance screen as Luffy transformed into a pure white warrior. They were also shocked because Luffy's current form did not appear frequently. It was this form that had instantly defeated Kaido in the past. Today, defeating Lucci in an instant should be a piece of cake. But Luffy still showed mercy to his old enemy. Lucci was not instantly defeated by Luffy's attack. He was able to push away the cement board and climb out of the ruins. But this attack was enough for him to realize how powerful Luffy's ability was. Faced with such a powerful opponent, he could only do his best. Lucci immediately activated his new ability and his body underwent a transformation. Arrogantly, he ignored his companion Kaku's dissuasion and launched an attack on Luffy. But even with his explosive form and full speed, Lucci couldn't touch Luffy. His attacks missed several times. And Luffy seemed to be teasing him, enjoying the process of fighting. They ran around the city with Luffy, causing the entire city to suffer. In their battle, one building after another was destroyed, and they had to run away quickly, afraid of being crushed to death. The families in the monitoring room also observed the battle between the two with surprise. Because normally, when a person transforms into a beast form, they lose their human consciousness. But Lucci still seemed to have human sanity. At this time, an excited Vegapunk arrived. Watching Luffy's fighting posture, he was extremely shocked and delighted. Excitedly, he kept asking the Straw Hat Gang what was going on. Everyone explained that this was the ability of the rubber fruit, but Vegapunk had personally seen the devil fruit catalog, and there was no rubber fruit listed on it. The Straw Hat Gang was also puzzled. If it wasn't the ability of the rubber fruit, then what was it? Even Luffy himself was always talking about rubber. Vegapunk thought that Luffy's current form looked more like the ancient sun god Nika recorded in ancient texts. He couldn't even believe that Luffy, who was like an idiot, had anything to do with the term god. Even the name of the sun god Nika was unheard of by everyone. Vegapunk explained that the sun god Nika was intentionally erased from the records by someone, but as long as there is hope in people's hearts, the sun god Nika, who carries hope, will reappear in the world. The same goes for devil fruits. Each fruit is the direction of evolution that people hope for and the possibility of human evolution. This possibility becomes a devil fruit that brings various abilities because of the unnaturalness of these abilities. The devil fruit is hated by the sea, the mother of nature, because of the non-naturalness of these abilities, so devil fruit users drown in the sea. Of course, this is just Vegapunk's guess as a scientist. While Vegapunk was explaining his guess to everyone, Luffy was still fighting fiercely with Lucci. Or rather, Lucci was fighting fiercely with all his might, and in Luffy's eyes, it was like scratching an itch. No matter how many times he attacked, Luffy could easily dodge them. In the face of absolute strength, the desperate efforts of the weak were just like acting spoiled. Vegapunk's bodyguards, Sentomaru, who had just finished their battle, arrived with 3 Seraphim. He found that CP0 had also arrived on the island. As the captain of the Marine Headquarters scientific team, he was considered a teammate of CP0 and should assist CP0 in completing the mission. But at this time, Vegapunk called and told Sentomaru that CP0 was here to arrest him. This moment put Sentomaru in a dilemma. Vegapunks couldn't help but bring up the fact that he had adopted Battle Taro and started playing the emotional card. Unfortunately, Sentomaru fell for it. After thinking for a moment, he chose to stand on Vegapunk's side. After all, his adoptive father was more important to him than his identity as a Marine. CP0 Kaku noticed that Sentomaru wanted to betray them and immediately ordered S-Bear to attack Sentomaru. But Sentomaru ordered S-Bear to attack CP0 instead. Since S-Bear was also a pacifist, a Seraphim, they were all created by Vegapunk himself, so they were implanted with a priority chip. The highest priority was the 5 Elder, Vegapunk, then Sentomaru, and finally CP0. This priority chip organization meant that Seraphim didn't have to listen to CP0's orders. As expected, S-Bear prioritized Sentomaru command and ignored Kaku's command. Kaku had to run away from the attack, and CP0 and the others were also in a panic and had to flee. Stussy wanted to have 5 Elder give orders to stop S-Bear's rampage, but Kaku told her not to dream. Even if 5 Elder made a phone call, it would be a long-distance communication and not present at the scene to directly give orders. The priority level would still be determined by Sentomaru. Kaku was also very frustrated because even if they could defeat the Sentomaru, the Marines would still suffer losses. The situation was caused by Lucci recklessness, but his complaints were useless at this time. Sentomaru had completely controlled the Seraphim. He was determined to help Vegapunk escape, so he began to give orders to the Seraphim. He ordered S-Snake to escort Luffy and the others to the vacuum rocket, and ordered S-Falcon and S-Shark to act as cover and intercept CP0. This plan was well divided, but if they followed Sentomaru's plan, CP0's plan would be completely disrupted. Now they didn't even know who they could rely on. Did they have to rely on Luffy, who was still entangled in a difficult battle with Lucci? On Luffy's side, the battle with Lucci was not going well either. Luffy inserted his fist into the ground and then punched out from the rubberized ground, hitting Lucci's abdomen. Lucci was hit so hard that his waist almost broke, and he spit out a mouthful of blood. Then Luffy wrapped himself around a tree and flew towards Lucci with the elasticity of rubber. Once again, he punched him in the same spot. This seemingly ordinary punch made Lucci fly out of the frame. Luffy thought it was over, and he casually greeted Sentomaru. Although Sentomaru, as a Marine, should have been an enemy of Luffy, now Vegapunk's only hope of escape was on Luffy. Sentomaru asked Luffy to protect Vegapunk and help him escape safely. Luffy immediately agreed. Sentomaru couldn't believe that Luffy had become one of the 4 emperors, and he was a bit unbelievable. While they were reminiscing, Lucci unexpectedly returned. He passed by Sentomaru with a sneak attack and forcefully broke through Battle Taro's defense. Lucci's return was really unexpected. Besides Sentomaru, who else on this island could defeat Lucci? Moreover, even Sentomaru was attacked by him unexpectedly. This time, Lucci really won without fighting. Seeing Sentomaru injured and lying on the ground, blood flowing everywhere, Luffy's expression instantly changed from a relaxed smile to a determined one, and then to a raging anger. But Lucci was very proud and didn't care that his actions would increase Luffy's anger and bring